Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar titled Stronger Assignment Groups for Future-Ready Workforce Management. My name is Suzanne Calderon, and I'm the Senior Director of Partner Marketing here at Workforce Software, and I will be your host for today's webinar. There will be some time left at the end for Q&A, so feel free to submit any questions in the questions section on the right side of the control panel as they come to mind, and I'll be queuing them up for our speakers at the end. I'm excited to introduce today's featured workforce management experts, Brian Thum, Solution Consultant at Workforce Software, an ADP company, alongside our partner, Troy Robinson, Director, Workforce Software Practice from HRchitect. Drawing on extensive industry experience, they'll share practical guidance, implementation tips, and proven strategies to help organizations design workforce management environments that can adapt to changing business needs, support operational excellence, and scale with confidence. In this session, we'll cover 5 key areas organized into the following sections: the strategic advantage of strong assignment group foundation, the risks of inadequate assignment groups, challenges, examples, and scenarios, a demo, and then takeaways and conclusions. Now over to you, Brian.
Thank you, Suzanne, and hello, everyone. My name is Brian Thum. I am a solution consultant with Workforce Software, an ADP company. I've been with the organization just about 10 years, spending some time on our services and implementations team for a couple of years, and then the last 5 years or so as a solution consultant. In my current role, I get to wear a lot of different hats, mainly doing software demonstrations to current and prospective customers, but every once in a while, I get to help support our partners on webinars like this one here. So very excited to talk to you today about a topic that I think gets overlooked a lot, which is assignment groups and the strategic role they play in successful time and attendance environments. I don't want to assume everyone listening to this knows what an assignment group actually is, especially if you're not familiar with the Workforce Suite. So an assignment group is just a grouping of employees that can be used for either managerial or administrative purposes. Common examples of assignment groups could include employees within a department or business unit who report to the same manager. It could also be groups such as exempt and non-exempt employees, or even just a generic group that has all employees at an organization. Assignment groups are used throughout Workforce Suite for activities such as approvals, payroll processing, reporting, and timesheet access, so they are a fundamental part of the software. This goes hand in hand with saying that without the proper groupings, you can expect to see unneeded frustrations for users such as managers and payroll admins who can't review data or reports as efficiently as possible. One more thing to point out is that assignment groups also contribute to security, because what you need to remember is that what you can do is controlled by the role or roles you as a user have. However, for group roles such as managers or timekeepers or payroll admin, you can have different roles and permissions for different assignment groups because the group roles permissions are assigned over assignment groups. So just as an example, I might have an assignment group called Brian's employees, and I'm a manager over that group. But I might also be covering for another manager in a backup manager capacity with slightly less permissions, let's say for Troy's employees. So I can have different access permissions to different groups of employees as needed based on an organization's requirements. Building off of what assignment groups are, I do want to highlight some of the strategic advantages of having a strong assignment group foundation. First point, helping ensure compliance. I just mentioned at the end of the last slide on how different users can have different permissions for different groups of employees, and that is critical for ensuring compliance. That's really just saying, making sure the right people have access to the right information and permissions for the right groups of employees, even if that means different permissions for different groups of employees. Second, reducing grievances. One of Workforce Suite's key differentiators is being able to handle even the most complex calculations and scenarios in real time. And for most of our customers, employees are given visibility into those results. If there are any concerns from an employee, they are able to alert their manager or timekeeper for resolution in real time. But in order for the right actions to be taken as required, those users need to have the appropriate permissions over an assignment group that the employee falls into. So ensuring that those permissions are set up correctly reduces grievances, and it's a similar message for points 3 and 4 here. Reporting is always a popular topic, and permissions need to be appropriately applied when users are running reports. Remember, it's not just about being able to run reports or run reports for various assignment groups, but the permissions are also dependent on the role users have over different assignment groups, and that determines what information you can and can't see when you are running reports. And finally, a strong assignment group foundation leads to a faster ROI as there is less time spent on administrative and managerial overhead tasks relating to the activities I just mentioned here. On the flip side, what issues arise when there are inadequate assignment groups? These are really the opposites of what happens when there are strong assignment group foundations. I'll just go clockwise around the items here, starting with lost productivity. Nobody wants to have to chase down other users of the system or users who have higher level roles to make changes if they are changes that the organization wants those users to be able to do themselves. While that point usually refers to concerns raised by employees and or managers, payroll admins can also face the same type of challenges, especially for users in larger organizations. Compliance exposure can become a risk, and this is especially true for organizations who have dedicated scheduler roles as opposed to managers who are also responsible for scheduling. And I'm just highlighting fatigue management as one example because the way permissions and assignment groups are set up for schedulers is it's usually on the basis of department or division, not by Brian or Troy's employees. A scheduler usually isn't going to make corrections on an employee's timesheet, and that's what their manager is really for. But we still need to be able to effectively communicate and proactively alert both users when an employee may be at risk. Tying this all together, if any of this fails, it just leads to frustrations. And even worse, if the system is correctly flagging entries that need review or correction, but they aren't acted on in time, all that does is push the issue downstream, whether that's to payroll or for a future correction that requires a retroactive correction. And it's an item I try to preach about all the time. One of the worst outcomes in any time and attendance system is a setup where messages or warnings just end up being ignored. And in this case, it may be because they can't be acted on appropriately or in a timely manner. Now, if you aren't familiar with how assignment groups are created and how the permissions are assigned, I have a very quick demo prepared for you that walks us through the setup of the groups and the delegation.
The assignment group creation is not necessarily a difficult process, but it does take a couple of steps and also requires you to have some level of technical competency as you need to know what table values to use in creating these groups. This process is usually reserved for system administrator type roles. A user with the available permissions will have access to the administrative system features under time, user, and group management to either review current assignment groups or create new ones. I'll go ahead and show the setup process for a new group. We have to give our group a name. So we'll say this is going to a group of employees at a new location. We also have to select if we want the system to automatically place employees into this group who meet some criteria, or if we want to manually populate it ourselves. I'll just keep it on auto. We also have some parameters that can be selected about this group. They aren't required for this exercise, so I'll just keep them unchecked. We're now at our filters, and this is the criteria that determines which assignments belong to the group. Assignments must meet the criteria of all selected filters to be included in this assignment group. The exact criteria needed will depend on each group, but as a sample, it may look something like this. You can use up to 5 different filters with logic to place employees into this group. There is nothing to be done with the Advanced tab as that contains functions for manipulating a group after it's been created, so we can go ahead and create this group. Now that the group has been created, we have to manually assign it to one or multiple employees, which uses our delegation functionality. First, we identify the new group. Here it is. Select the role we want to delegate for the group. I'm going to select the manager group role, and then pick the dates for the delegation. And then pick who we are going to give the permissions to. So I'll just use one of my usual go-tos, which is Tad Wolf. And we are given a successful delegation message. We would then need to repeat this process for every new user who needs this new delegation.
So just to come back to what you saw there, I had also mentioned the delegation portion, which is directly related to the concept of assignment groups, because on its own, you can have as few or many groups as you create, but you still have to delegate them to different users for there to be any action that can be taken on those group of employees. What you saw in the demo was me as a super delegator manually delegating a group to a manager. We can also allow users to delegate their groups to other employees, such as in a scenario where a manager may be going on PTO and needs to give his permissions to another manager. And we can also map those with our user import control as well. But to tell you why this might be a little trickier than it sounds, and to show you some cool functionality that the HRchitect team has developed, I'm going to hand it over to Troy so that you can see and hear right from that team. Troy?
Thanks. Thank you, Brian. Hi, guys. My name is Troy Robinson, and I am the director of our workforce software practice here at HRchitect. A little bit about HRchitect. We've been a partner of Workforce Software and ADP company since 2010 and recently received the Regional System Integrator Partner of the Year Award at Vision 2026. We're very excited about that. Even though I'm the director of the workforce software practice, my day job, I am an integration engineer. Basically, that means I am a technical guy that helps get data into and out of the system and anything that requires custom scripting. So some of the challenges that you'll face when you're working through assignment groups and managing assignment groups and so forth, we'll cover here today. What you just saw from Brian was a very simple example of how to create an assignment group, how to delegate that assignment group to somebody so that they can take action on other people's timesheets or whatever, see reports, that kind of thing. So some of the challenges is within that manual assignment group creation, you have to know where the data is. So in Brian's example, he quickly went through and says, all right, let's apply one for store, and I'm going to pick assignment LD3. Well, he happened to know the data structure where all that data is stored in the employee and assignment records, and he knew to use assignment LD3. But what if there was another field, assignment other string 15? So the user-friendly names that we can create sometimes are not available in that assignment group filter section. So you would have to have a little bit of knowledge about your data and where it's stored in Workforce. So that's one of the challenges. The other challenge is that you heard Brian say that he was logged in as the super delegator into the system in order to create the assignment group and do that delegation. One of the challenges is that when you are using single sign-on and coming into the system, you log in as your normal account, you're a super user and that kind of thing, and therefore you kind of have some challenges where you don't have all that same functionality that you would have if you had the super delegator role. So in order to get to the super delegator role, you would have to log out, log in through the desktop or classic version, if you will, and then log in with a special delegator account that would give you that functionality to perform those delegation or the assignment group creations and do those delegations. So that's one of the challenges. Challenge number two is in those filters that Brian set up. So assignment LD3, he said, LD3 equals to store 217. That's great. There are 5 filters available with assignment groups, and they are and conditions. It's very rare that you would need to use more than those 5 and conditions, but if there's a need, right, how do you get around that? Or there's also some limitations within those filters to where those little filter columns where it says LD3 equal to where they put in the 217 part, that is limited to 100 characters. So say, for instance, that you have, cost centers and you need these 15 cost centers in this assignment group, and those cost centers are 9 characters long each. It's kind of hard to get them all into that spot. So what are some of the challenges when you're going through and creating these assignment groups? The other trick is the delegations is granted one employee at a time. So in Brian's example, which, it's very easy to do, he delegated to Tad Wolf to that one assignment group. Well, what if he had multiple employees that he needed to assign to that assignment group? He would have to repeat that process over and over again for all the different users that needed access to this assignment group that was just created. So it's kind of it's time consuming, to say the least. And then the large number of assignment groups that are required. So he went in and manually created that assignment group, gave it a name, did the filters, did the whole 9 yards. But what if you need to create a assignment group for every department, division, cost center, those kind of things, to be able to delegate those out to different employees, operations center managers, HR managers, finance managers, that kind of thing. What does that process look like? So you could be in there all day, 2 days, creating assignment groups and then delegating them off to another employee. So those are some of your challenges on working with manual assignment group creation and delegations. So how do we help, right? So through custom scripting, we can, so there's different types of APIs within Workforce Software Suite configuration, if you will. There is your you've got the new REST APIs, which is, all great. You've got the standard SOAP APIs that are available, and then you've also got this thing called JavaScript APIs, which is really used in the background for doing your, special configurations and scripting in order to help with these kind of things. So you could have scripts that go in and create these assignment groups dynamically. As new departments are added into the system, you can have the script automatically create a assignment group for that department and then have it automatically delegate to any number of people based on different rules that you have configured in your system, right? So therefore it takes all that manual creation, that manual delegation. It's not something you have to worry about. And then as users change jobs, let's say for instance that your script and you've gone in and delegated Tad Wolf to store 217, and he is, being the manager of store 217. Tad now gets promoted, and he is now the store manager of 219, 220, 230. What happens? You would have to go in as the delegator, remove his delegation from store 217, and then delegating to the next store if you were doing it manually. If you had it with a script, it would all happen magically, right? So you can have that script run and set up all that access for Tad as things change, right? So assigning things like that on, scripted demand really helps save time for administrators to perform their other normal day jobs rather than having to deal with system maintenance. So some examples, right? So I kind of walked through a couple of examples already as we were talking. So you can create these, assignment groups, regions, departments, divisions, and you can also automatically delegate different users to those regions and department assignment groups, reporting administrators, finance, any number of people that need to have access to all these different assignment groups and to pull reports and look at employees' timesheets and take action and so forth. There's also another scenario, manager hierarchy, that we run into a lot. So out of the box, I'm holding up bunny ears so you can't see, all right, I'm not sharing my video. Out of the box, you can have the functionality to where, Troy Robinson's employees, and I would have my list of employees that I can see and take action on. Well, let's say, for instance, that I also manage Brian. I'm making things up here. And Brian also manages, 5 other people. So in theory, you could do a manager and managers, those first level and second level manager, kind of out of the box to where Troy could see Brian's employees, and then, Troy's manager could see, Troy and Brian, right? So it's all great. Well, what happens when you get into those extra levels, right? Say, for instance, I am a facilities manager. I have 5 employees that report directly to me. And then within those 5 employees, they also manage 5, 10, 15 other employees. Within those 10 employees, 4 or 5 of them are managers. Well, out of the box, now my access is limited, or what I can see and do. But having a custom script that kind of loops that hierarchy, you could now have every manager have access to everybody in their organization, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. So using a custom script can really help with that visibility into timesheets, reporting, that kind of thing. So manager hierarchy is one of those very common requests for creating scripts to help with that automatic delegation so people can see and take action on timesheets. Multiple division administrators, right? So let's say, for instance, that every division has their own set of administrators, and you want those administrators to see all the managers in their division. Well, how do you go about doing that? So if you did it manually, you could go in and find all the managers that are in a particular division and manually delegate each manager to be able to see them. Or you could take advantage of a custom script that does all that magic for you, right? Or a good example here is HR managers. Say, for instance, that you have HR managers that are assigned to multiple employees. How do they get assigned to their groups and take action? Reporting administrators, ops center managers, that kind of thing. So you can have a custom script that does all that magic for you and loads it up. So custom scripting can very help you save time in your system administration. Now, I'm going to do a quick little demo here that's recorded. What you're going to see in the demo is some examples of going through and finding everybody that has a particular general role in the system, and then performing a delegation for everybody that's got that general role to different assignment groups in the system automatically. So you're not having to go in and log in as a delegator and do that delegation. We're also going to show you an example of using a LD table, labor distribution table within time and attendance, to do delegations and create assignment groups and that kind of thing. So you can manage it all from a labor distribution table instead of having to log in as a delegator and performing those actions. So here's the demo. We're currently logged into our HRchitect sandbox as a super user. And with as a super user, we can see every assignment group that's currently created in the system. We have a requirement, so you can see that we have a bunch of assignment groups in the system. You can see that we have the store 211 through 217 created. We also have a bunch of facility assignment groups created. What we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate how just adding a general role into the system and then having a custom script read the general roles and then delegate the necessary assignment groups based off the general role, how that would work, and possibly using data from the employee and or LD table, labor distribution tables, to create assignment groups and also perform delegations to those assignment groups. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at some users that we're going to assign, so you can see that their user security is not currently set up and they are just regular employees, no special manager rights, nothing along that nature. So we'll go to user roles and security. We are going to take a look at Acres. Currently just an employee. Same with Anderson, an employee, and we're going to look at Amos as well. Clint Amos. So what we're going to do is we are going to demo. So using those roles that you see, if I go in as Acres, you can see Acres only has access to their own timesheet. My timesheet, web clock, and so forth. You don't see the edit employee time. You don't see all the timesheets. Our requirements here are we are going to assign Acres to every facilities assignment group that's created in the system. So if you recall, as a super user, we have lots of facility assignment groups. Our other requirement is Anderson is going to be the payroll administrator, and they need access to every assignment group in the system to help with delegations and management and troubleshooting, that kind of thing. And we're also adding a new super user. That employee ID, Amos, we just hired a new employee and we want to make them a super user. So as a quick example, we can go into admin, user rights, user roles and security. And if you create general roles or have the system automatically delegate general roles based off of employee data like job titles or job positions and those kind of things, you could come in as an example in Anderson. We're going to assign or have the system can do it based off of user data, payroll administrator role. So even though you've got payroll administrator, you would also need to be delegated to every assignment group, payroll admin group, in order to have access to see and perform actions on employees. The other thing we want to do is for Acres, Acres is special because we only want Acres to have access to facilities. So we'll take Acres, and we created a general role just for Acres, or just for any facilities administrator, if you will, payroll administrator facilities. If I have more than one person that should see only facilities, we could do the same thing. We could find another user, delegate them payroll administrator facilities, and then the script would automatically go in, find all the assignment groups that have facilities, and delegate them as the payroll administrator for that group. We're also hiring Amos, as we want to make them a super user. So typically what you would do is you would come in, you would give them super user rights, and then you would have to go and manually delegate the assignment groups that you want Amos to be able to see as a super user admin group role, super user group role. So at a quick glance, if we were to then go and run admin users, I have a job that will then go delegate these users as such, run job, delegate administrators. And what this is going to do is now go find all the assignment groups that are in the system. And for facilities, if the assignment group name has facilities in it, we're going to delegate the payroll admin group to that user, Acres, for only facilities. Anderson is getting all assignment groups at the moment, and Amos is getting all assignment groups as the super user. So if I were to quickly log out of the system right quick, log in as, we'll start with Acres again. Acres has now been delegated to only facility assignment groups. So we'll come in Acres, log in, timesheets, edit employee timesheets, and you'll see that Acres now is a payroll administrator for all the facility assignment groups that have the word facilities in the assignment group name. If we were to log out of this, go in as Anderson, Anderson would see the same thing as I saw as a super user, but as a payroll administrator. And same with Amos. If I were to log in as, we'll do Anderson first. So you get the idea. So Anderson has been delegated as payroll admin group to every assignment group in the system, all by a push of one quick run script. Takes care of all that delegations for you automatically. Let's say, for instance, that Anderson is no longer a payroll administrator. They're getting promoted. They're going off to be technical IT director or something like that within the company, and they're no longer a payroll administrator. You could simply go in and remove Anderson as a super user or as a payroll administrator, and the script would then remove the delegations for that employee. So it's pretty handy that way. Another option that we can do with custom scripting is using data from the system to build and create assignment groups. So I'm going to log back in as Troy SU as my super user, and we're going to take a look at the store table, the LD18 table that we have in the system. So we'll come out here and take a look at lookup tables. And you'll see that we have this nice table out here called LD18, where it allows us to create store assignment groups and also perform delegations to those assignment groups based off of the data. So here, store 11, user Alonzo has store manager rights to 211, and Medina has store administrator rights to 211. And you can see here for somewhere we've got to have multiple administrators have access to 213. We split them with a pipe sign in the middle. So Romero can see both store 12, 212, 213. Alonzo can see 211 through 215. And Costa can see 216 and 217. If we wanted to create a new assignment group in the system, 218, 219, 220, right? In order for what you would have to do is you would first go in as the delegator account, create the assignment group, know what fields you need to use to create the assignment group. Where's store 17 stored? What field is that coming from? If it is in another string 10, other string 3, other LD1, LD2, that kind of thing. So without having to know that stuff, we can have a script that reads this table, builds the assignment group automatically, and then delegates it to the necessary employee. So as an example, we're going to pretend like we've downloaded the file, and we're going to add a new store, and we're going to call this 218. And I don't think I have users that have these values in it yet, so they'll come across as zeros, but eventually they'll be populated with employees, but it'll give you an idea. So 218, 219, 218, 219, and we want to then delegate new users AHMA Ahmad, oops, AHMAD, and the administrator for that particular store is going to be Akins, and they both get both of these. And at the same time, we want another backup of Benitez. So by saving this table and then uploading it into our LD table, new store. Now we have 218 and 219 confirm. Now, if we were to go run a new job status, run job, and let's say, for instance, so just to confirm, you'll see that I have access to all assignment groups in the system. You can see that we have 211 through 217 currently created. If I run this job to build out the store assignment groups and automatically perform the delegations, so that job is called store assignment groups. It will now go out and create those assignment groups if it's not there. If it's already there, it's not going to create another one. It's just going to perform the delegations. If it is not there, it's going to create the assignment group and then delegate the necessary administrators to them. So that delegation's already been performed. If I were to log out now and log in as Akins or Ahmed, depending on the role that they have been assigned in the LD table, we'll go in as the store manager. They will now have access to this assignment group called store 18 and store 19. There won't be any records in there because we don't have any employees in it, but you'll get the idea. 218 and 219, they're listed as the store manager for those stores. So you can see that based off of employee data, either employee data, assignment data, or data in LD tables, we can quickly create assignment groups and we can perform delegations all without having to, go outside of the hub in order to make that magic happen. Right. So to follow up on the demo, right? So use your imagination on the way these things can help you, or this custom scripting can help you in your day-to-day administration of the system, right? And some of the other strategies that we can implement to help you with that assignment group maintenance, the delegations, and reporting aspects of time and attendance. So hopefully this has helped, and we'll turn it back over to Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. And just to wrap us up, just wanted to reiterate some of the overall benefits of having the right assignment groups. Compliance is always an important topic, and ensuring the right roles over the right assignment groups is expected behavior of a modern time and attendance solution. Being able to reduce grievances by allowing concerns to be quickly raised and corrected leads to a better overall experience for all parties involved. Assignment groups help drive transparency so that the right users are able to see exactly what they need to be able to not only see, but also be able to take action as required. And these activities help eliminate waste in time spent on administrative overhead. That is one of the metrics used in helping drive an increase, leading to an increased and faster ROI. So I hope you learned a little bit today. I'm going to give it back to Suzanne to close us out. Suzanne?
Great, thank you so much. I love all the questions that have come in. It's really great when our audience is so engaged. So I will start with the first question. Does the group type auto feature automatically assign the employees, which comes through via employee import integrations, or do we need to delegate the groups to the associates as well?
Yeah, so it's a two-part process. The first part is, I think what the question was asking here, is if you have it set to auto, it will populate those groups who automatically meet the criteria that's listed under the group setup there. The second portion then is the delegation, which can be done either manually or automatically based on users who meet certain criteria as well. So it is a two-part process. They can both be done automatically or semi-automatically, depending on each organization's needs and requirements.
Let me follow up on that too, Brian. So auto is pulling data from either the employee or the assignment record or where that's stored. So if your employee demographic data is feeding data down into the system, it's going to be using that data that is stored as part of those two different tables in the back end, the employee or the job / assignment record is what the auto does.
Thank you. Next question. Is there a learning center where we can find detailed information and directions for creating assignment profiles, updating qualifiers, and setting, etc.?
Not sure I fully understand the question, but I can tell you, so out there on the partner portals and knowledge base articles and so forth, there is a nice PDF document that will help you understand the different JavaScript APIs that are available that will allow you to write these custom scripts to grab a hold of and do these assignment group creations via scripting, if that helps answer the question.
I'll also comment as well. I'm not sure what it's officially called now, but we do have on the community portal as well the administrative guide. I think the name is something like WTNA 20.2 admin guide or administrative guide. From the assignment groups point of view, there is some information on there that has a little bit of the detailed steps and information that you heard both of us cover in various parts of our presentations as well, which would be another good resource to look up if you're not familiar with that one.
Right, and that's our customer community. So at the end of this webinar, we're going to put an email address. If you don't have the link to the customer community and need exact location, please email us and we'll be sure to get you the exact location of that. All right, moving on to the next question. Are these scripts available to classic customers or suite only?
These scripts, like the samples that I've shown, are available to, it's one system. So even though it says classic or suite, it's the same data in the back end. So it kind of works for both, if you will.
Great. We have so many questions coming in. I'm pretty sure we've never had so many questions on a workforce excellence webinar. This is wonderful. Next question is, this is amazing with auto assigning / delegating admins to a group. How do we learn to do this? What training should be taken?
I'll take this one. All right. So basically what you're doing here is JavaScript. So if you happen to know how to do JavaScript or write JavaScript, you can then utilize the different JavaScript APIs that are available and just using that object model, right? And then you just basically pull. So the guide that's out there on the partner portal has very good examples of, or simple examples of doing this very thing, but then it's just a matter of writing JavaScript to make it happen. So it's all JavaScript.
Right. And for this audience, it's not the partner portal, it's the community.
Oh, sorry.
Customer community. It's the same place. It's just called something different. Yes. Great.
Yep.
Wonderful. Next question. Thank you so much, Troy. Can we also strip delegation via job?
Can you strip delegation? You can strip delegation if the job was the one that assigned the delegation. So if it was done manually or something along those lines, then no, it would not just simply, the script wouldn't remove those delegated delegations. There are other strategies for doing assignment group cleanup. There's another policy out there in the system that would help you for removing delegations for terminated managers or any assignment groups that have no employees. For example, when I did that creation, I created store 218 and 219, if you will. There's another policy called assignment group cleanup that we can enable that says if the assignment groups don't have any employees, remove the assignment group or remove the delegation. So there's other strategies, but not the normal script.
Great. Next question. How are delegations removed?
Oh, in that scenario, so in my sample where I've have the script that does the delegations, what's cool about the custom scripting aspect is that there is a name associated with the script that's run. So any assignment group that is delegated via that script, it will know that if I don't assign that delegation any longer, it will then remove it. So I could, any employees that move departments, divisions, and so forth, and I need to remove them back out of that delegation that script is already performed, it will then remove that delegation from the employee.
Yeah, just a friendly reminder to add on as well too. Again, I don't want to assume what everyone knows or doesn't know, but there are role-based reports. If you ever want to audit roles and delegations and how they were assigned, were they done manually, were they done automatically? Those reports are usually, again, for someone a little bit more in the administrative type roles who usually have access to those reports. But just a reminder that at any given time, a user who has the ability to run those reports can do so. You can see all roles a user has or the delegations they've been given, or you can run the basis by users as well. So there are some tools and some standard tools and reports that are available just kind of for auditing purposes. If anyone ever wants to or has a need to go in and just double check what's going on.
Good call.
Great. This, I think, was just answered in the last question, but I'll ask it just to make sure. How are delegations removed when management responsibilities change? Was that the same answer?
Same kind of thing, is that as the script will identify what users are supposed to have access to that particular thing. So as an example, in that general role that I was assigning, and then I said, all right, assign this person as the facilities payroll administrator to everybody that has a facilities assignment group. If we were to remove that general role from that employee, then their access to all those facility assignment groups would then magically go away.
And without the scripting version, which is what Troy's been highlighting here, for those users who aren't familiar, you can remove delegations in the same way they are manually assigned. So when I went to the delegation screen during my quick demonstration, under delegations, I clicked, basically, I went through the click process to delegate functionality. One of the items, though, was reviewing existing delegations, where you do have the ability to remove delegations either immediately or at you can select a time frame. If it's going to be like at the end of the week or end of the pay period, that can also be specified as well, if you are doing the manual process that way.
Great call out, Brian. But again, it's one assignment group at a time. So you will get the entire list of assignment groups that employee has access to, and then you have to click the remove. Yeah. But yeah, you can definitely do it manually too.
Yep.
Great. Next question. Can automated emails for timesheet approvals or time off requests be turned off for second and third level managers, etc.?
Yep, it is a roles-based security setting as well. So how a lot of the rules in the system are built, the notifications, exception messages are controlled by role. Now that for that to work as intended here, you do have to have like a backup manager role as an example created and the permissions associated with that. So there could be some configuration if it's not, it doesn't exist like naturally in a sense, but it is possible. You can control which messages, which notifications go out because they are ultimately tied to the role or roles a user has. So it is possible to set it up that way.
Great. I'm trying to read this one. It currently says, when scripting assignment group creation, can you use more conditions?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, let me finish this one. Sorry. Can those conditions be combined in different ways? Example, using some or conditions, etc.
Yes, 100%. So in that scenario, then you're not creating a auto assignment group, right? You're then creating one that is then managed manually. It's called manual assignment group. And then your script would do or find those assignments that need to belong to that assignment group using whatever conditions that you want, ands, ors. If your characters are more like in my scenario where you're limited to 100 characters and like is this LD3 in, these cost centers or something like that, and your cost centers are exceeding that 100 character limit, you could, in theory, write a script, finds all the different assignments based off all your different conditions, and then you create a manual assignment group and then move the assignments in and then delegate. So yes, 100%. Custom scripting can help with that.
Okay. We have a lot of questions here, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Next one is, if one employee is present in two assignment groups, do both assignment groups need to be close timesheet in end of period processing in order to advance period?
I think I understand, and I'll see if I can. So when you drop an assignment into a assignment group, that assignment can be in one or more assignment groups. So I could be Troy Robinson in cost center 1, 2, 3 assignment group, but I could also be in the assignment group called Store 217, right? So I have I'm one employee. I'm in 2 different assignment groups delegated to different people with different roles and so forth and so forth. When you go to do your end of period processing, when you lock and calculate that timesheet, if you will, or lock and calculate that assignment is impacted in both of those assignment groups. It's a pointer to the single assignment group, and though you can be in different buckets, if you will, but it's still the one record. So when you run your lock and calculate, you would run, let's say, for instance, you have an all assignment group where it's got every employee thing. When you run your lock and calc there, you only need to run it against that one assignment group, and it will then, if the employee's timesheet or assignment is in that assignment group, it's going to be locked for everybody in that period. Hope that helps.
Great, thank you. If we create multiple assignment groups via script and want to add a new filter to all later on, would we need to strip the delegations and create new groups, then reassign, or would updating the script update the groups directly?
Ooh, great question. That's a very, very good question. It would end up, that one's a little trickier. So once it's created, those assignment groups would exist. And then if we add a new filter, it would end up creating new assignment groups. But because the script is creating the new assignment groups, you could have it remove the delegations automatically, but then you would have some extra, if you will, bloat in the system. But then that's where you then utilize the assignment group cleanup script to help remove things as well. So we could work through that particular challenge, but that you're right, that would be a challenge with the assignment group script.
Thank you. Is there any other way to complete mass delegations other than a yearly LD load?
Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
Is there any other way to complete mass delegations other than a yearly LD load?
Any way to complete mass delegations other than a yearly LD load?
And if we don't have that answer, we can always email this person afterwards.
Yeah, the answer is I want to say yes. You don't have to rely on an yearly LD load. It all based on the scripts and the requirements that you have. So maybe we can chat later.
Okay, we will follow that. We will follow up with you on that question. Okay, I joined late, so asking again, are you saying there's a script/batch job which can read file or LD table to auto-assign employees to assignment groups?
That's what we're saying. It's not one out of the box, right? We have to write it, right? So there are JavaScript APIs that are available that will allow you to perform these actions. An integration engineer can write these scripts and help you with this problem.
Great. I want to split an existing assignment profile group based on different qualifiers. This is the context behind my previous question on creating assignment profile. Let me see if I can find the prior.
You want to split an existing assignment group into multiple assignment groups, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And the prior question was, is there a learning center? Oh, well, no, that wasn't it. I think this person had multiple questions. There are so many questions. I'm struggling to keep track of all. We might need to, I want to split existing assignment profile groups based on different qualifiers.
Yes, so it'd end up creating new assignment groups, and then you would perform the delegations to the different individuals that need to take action on those assignments.
Okay. If there's any further questions on that topic that we didn't hit, please make sure you email us when I provide the email address at the end of this webinar. Sorry if we didn't hit that one properly. When an employee is terminated, are all delegations removed? Example, they have multiple assignment groups like a payroll admin done manually. If we run a role report, will they still be visible?
Great question. So you can, again, it's that assignment group cleanup script that can be, it's a singleton policy within the system that we can enable to remove delegations for terminated people. Or you can have, if it's done via the custom scripting, if we are only assigning active employees, if the employee is terminated, then we don't include that as part of the delegation, and that would remove the access.
Great. Is there a way to know what field names are and the var field number, NO relate to?
Yes, 100%. So there are some strategies in order to find what those are. So within, if you're in as a super user or somebody with the access, there is under the launch admin client, if you will, there is a view data elements. so you can actually see, the different named elements that are stored in what fields. There's also documentation or reports that can be generated that would give you that information. So yes, there's strategies to get that information for you.
Okay. There is a question here, and I think this is more related to product roadmap. Not sure that we can answer this today, but I will ask it out loud. And I don't think, Brian, you might have the answer to this, but is Workforce Software considering AG and or delegation enhancements that would build more elaborate functionality such as what was demonstrated today? Any word on that, Brian, that you might be aware of? If not, we can take that offline.
I haven't seen much on the roadmap lately. Our roadmap is also customer facing through our community and partner portal as well. To my knowledge, I haven't heard it come up as much.
Yeah, that is right. We do in the customer community, there is roadmap information that has been released for visibility. So if it's not on there, then likely no.
So I'll jump in here too. So
yeah.
So after I've done this recording and all this planning and so forth, there is a new system feature that you can assign to super users to allow. So instead of having to log out of the suite and coming into the classic, it would give a super user the ability to create assignment groups, but there are still some limited challenges with that functionality too. So they are making some improvements there, but the overall assignment delegation and creation screens, those things haven't changed in forever. So
always improving and handling. All right, I think we have about 2 more questions left. Thank you so much. What is the function of recalculate assignment groups? When I create an assignment group manually and add associates to those, will the recalculate assignment groups just recalculate the members, right? Will the recalculate assignment groups just recalculate the members? If you need me to reread that,
nope, I can take it. All right, so recalculate assignment groups. What that does is it basically refreshes the assignment group to pull any changes. So if you're using those auto assignment group types where it pulls data from employee or assignment-based records, if, for instance, that you have an update to one of the fields in the back end of an employee, that refresh assignment group functionality will then go out and basically recalculate that assignment group and refine those employees that have, LD3 equal to 217. Without that recalculate assignment group, if an employee is just freshly moved into LD3 217 and you don't run that recalculate assignment group yet, it won't pick it up. So that recalculate assignment groups basically is the auto filter feature, if you will, that says, all right, go out and query the database, return all the information into that assignment group as needed. That's what that auto stuff does. It doesn't really, it's not refreshing employees' timesheets or anything like that. That's a different functionality.
Wonderful. Okay, last question, then we'll do a quick wrap up. So thanks for hanging with us, everybody. If there is a major org change, is there a way to have the assignment groups automatically update without having to go in and manually change the filter criteria?
If there's a major org change, is there a way to change the filter criteria without having to manually go in and change it? So changing existing assignment groups.
Is there a way to have the assignment groups automatically update without having to go in and manually change the filter criteria?
Not in that context. Basically, you would end up creating, from a script perspective, no. So a script would create new assignment groups and then have that automatic stuff happen. But there's not a script, if you will, or conforming script that would go in and find existing assignment groups and then change the filters of them. It's not in a conforming fashion, no.
Somebody wrote in yes, but I'm not sure that is for this question. Okay, great. All right, I think that is all of the questions that we have. So moving on. Thank you so much, Brian and Troy, for providing actionable insights that help strengthen governance, improve operational efficiency, and create a scalable foundation that can support organizations' evolving needs. And a special thank you to all our audience for joining us today. If you have any more questions, please continue to reach out to partner marketing at Workforce Software, and we'll ensure you're connected to the appropriate resource. And also for any existing Workforce Software customers, you may be directed to your account relationship manager for continued implementation guidance. And while organizations that are not yet customers and have specific assignment group requirements, you may be connected with HRchitect for additional expertise and recommendations. Wishing you all a very wonderful day. Cheers.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.